I'm Dr. Michael Magwood, chiropractor. Many of you have seen us on Facebook Live before. And once a month we have a session that we call it What's New in Chiropractic. And it's a unique idea tonight to have a special guest. This is Ed Gaelick. He's an expert in everything, but in particular tonight he's going to talk about healthcare, and specifically healthcare insurance. So what on earth is the future of the Affordable Health Care Act? He has some ways to predict, and we're also going to tie this into chiropractic simply because of what I've heard people say over the years. Back in the day, when I was young and I was starting out, people had insurance, and insurance covered chiropractic. And it was cool because people would come and get adjusted, and they would be like, how much does this cost? And it would be like, well, it cost, at the time, it was like $50. And what did the insurance pay? $50. And how many times could they come in under that policy? How many at least?
Two times?
No, they could come in forever.
Oh.
They just come in as often as they want. And then all of a sudden something happened. And I remember it with Blue Cross Blue Shield, and then someone came in and they were like, wait, I have a $5 copay now. And people were like, well, that's no big deal. It's been like no charge this whole time. And other people would say, there's no way I'm continuing if I have to pay $5. And so that was the start of like me with this interesting feeling like, hey, why is chiropractic even involved in the insurance game? And maybe we shouldn't be. So we'll get into a little bit about that tonight. But as it evolved, it got into the state where even this week I had someone say to me, well, listen, for me personally, I'm paying well over $1,000 a month for my insurance. I just don't feel comfortable spending anything on healthcare out of my pocket beyond that. So it becomes an issue where I think Ed can help us to understand, like, what are we really investing in, and what are really our choices, and are we making good choices for us and our lifestyle? Are we someone that spends a lot of money on sick care? Or are we someone that likes to dig in to the value of our earnings and say, now I'm going to add value to my life by investing in my health? And those are the wellness ventures that include chiropractic. So if we're looking for healthcare policies that cover chiropractic, realize this: it's set up and designed for intervening in acute care or crisis or in response to an immediate injury. They have in no way intended to cover any aspect of supportive care or wellness care or the real things that dig into lifestyle and well-being. So Ed Gaelick, he's awesome. He's from PSI Consultants, LLC. That's his company. He's going to be our friend and your go-to person when it comes to all forms of coverage. He talked to us last week about disability coverage. He's talked to us about life insurance coverage. He's expert. So without anything else on my part, I'm going to turn it over to Ed. I'm not even going to interview him. He knows what he wants to talk about. Please proceed, my friend.
All right. Well, good evening.
Good evening.
What Dr. Magwood described was the evolution of healthcare in our area. And even before, when people would come and have no limitation on chiropractic care, plans were designed where it was a $100 deductible once per year, and then you have everything else covered 100%. Any doctor, any hospital, anywhere. That's changed over the years, where now they've introduced networks, where now doctors, hospitals, facilities need to be part of a network for you to get, optimal coverage. Plans have developed where now certain things have limitations, such as chiropractic care. And just to address that today, all the companies do it a little bit differently, but for the most part, in the small group market, which most people are covered under, you're going to have a limitation of 30 visits per year. Sometimes the carriers will require some authorization to go beyond a certain number of visits. So my suggestion to you all is that you need to be proactive and make sure that you coordinate that prior to going, so that there's no surprises. And if it's medically necessary and it's helpful, it should be covered, but again, the carriers have imposed limitations. There's really no way around that. We've had healthcare reform in New Jersey for many years, back in the Governor Florio days, where it created a guaranteed issue state so we can all get insurance immediately, and that was a good thing. So if you wanted to get insurance today, you could, subject to a pre-existing condition exclusion if you had something that was treated within a certain period of time. Look back, you'd have to wait a certain period of time looking forward. And seemed fair because it would avoid somebody like me saying, I don't need insurance, now I find out I need knee surgery, I jump into the system, I pay 1 month, I get a $30,000 surgery, I jump back out, now I need some other type of care, I jump back in, I pay a month, I jump back out. So the pre-existing condition exclusion was important to avoid an insurance company having adverse selection. We don't feel too bad for them, but they're not in business to do that. Obamacare was enacted years ago, and part of the law was eliminating the pre-existing condition clause. So you can get in and you could be covered for heart surgery that day. However, to avoid the situation that I explained where you can jump in and jump back out, you could only get in during certain open enrollment periods. So that's where we are right now. Now, with Trump becoming our president, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you where we're at other than we are still under the rules of Obamacare.
Well, I thought you were here because you had a crystal ball.
I'll pull it out. I'll pull it out in a few minutes. I'll give you some ideas. But reality is we really don't know where it's going to go. But let's just continue with the open enrollment. I could say I don't want insurance today. And I am not allowed to come back into the system until an open enrollment period manifests. If I work for a company and I become newly eligible for their benefits, that would be one open enrollment period. If I say I don't want to pay my contribution, I need to wait until their next anniversary date, which could be 2 months, 6 months, or 10 months down the road. If I don't want to get into the employer market, I could buy individual insurance, but the open enrollment period for the most part is, let's say, January 1st. So between November 15th and December 15th, somewhere around there, for a January 1st effective date, that's it. Unless you have a triggering event, something that happens that would give you a special open enrollment period. So if you get married and you didn't have prior coverage, that would be a special open enrollment period. If you had a child or adopted a child, that would be another one. If you involuntarily lost other coverage, company went out of business. Your plan, if you were covered under Health Republic, one of the 23 co-ops created by Obamacare's, 18 of them are out of business already. If you were covered under Health Republic in New Jersey, they're out of business. That would have been an involuntary loss of coverage, and then at that point, that would have set up a special open enrollment period where you could get coverage without any gap. If they had consulted with me, I would have suggested, why don't we have a hybrid? And I have a congressman, this U.S. congressman, right next to my office. So his office, my office. And I made a suggestion to him. I said, well, you know, House already passed their side, but it's going to continue with negotiations. I said, have a hybrid. Have the open enrollment under Obamacare stick, so there's no pre-existing condition clause. However, if somebody wants to get coverage because they said, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't get coverage when I could have, now I have to wait, let them come into the system subject to a pre-existing condition exclusion. So you get a hybrid. But they don't consult with people like me because the politicians think, you know, that they have it all under control. What happened recently was the House of Representatives passed their version of repeal and replace. There are some things in there that are sticking, such as no pre-existing condition clauses. But what happens now is now the Senate has their own version. Then they both negotiate to create one version that goes to Trump to sign into law. We are weeks, if not months away from that happening. I think if I had to give you my crystal ball guess, I do see for now no pre-ex continuing, no exclusions. I do see the open enrollment thing sticking. I do see all the taxes that were imposed under Obamacare being taken out of the law because insurance companies had to share a lot of taxes to pay for the subsidies that people got when they went onto the marketplace and purchased insurance. That money had to come from someplace. Well, insurance companies shared in that. And there were a lot of other reasons why there were taxes built in. I see that coming out, which I believe will help the overall premiums. I also see more companies coming back into the market, which will create more competition, in a free market system, that I think that will also help in lowering the price of the premiums. I also see the states getting in some power to allow the feds, allowing the states to tell the insurance companies within their states, create the plan designs of your choice. So if somebody wants to buy a bare bones plan, they can, as opposed to the lowest level plan that the government called minimum value, which you might know as a bronze level plan, which still might be here when I really want to have a plan down here. We used to have it. Horizon Blue Cross had one called Basic and Essential. It was relatively inexpensive, and a lot of younger people bought it because it gave them some protection, but that was taken away. So my crystal ball is I do see some improvements, but I really don't know where it's going to go. I hope that they consult with some insurance people so that there's the input from our world as opposed to politicians. Hopefully they are. The congressman in my building is pretty darn smart. They know things from the legislative standpoint, but I think from a practical standpoint, which is where I'm the expert, I've been in business 32 years, I've sold thousands of plans, and I know from a practical standpoint, we need that, they need that input as well to really fine tune